So when we talk about Killeen, Texas, we automatically start to talk about affordability, especially when it comes to housing. In this video, we're gonna look at the cost of living in Killeen, Texas. I'm gonna let you follow me around a little bit. We'll pop into some of my favorite places and just see what those rates are in comparison to the rest of the nation and really see, is Killeen that affordable? And another thing that recently happened to me was I got a speeding ticket, all right? And I am going to let you know what the cost is of a speeding ticket if you get caught doing 47 and a 35. Quick tidbit about Killeen: way too many streets have a speed limit of 35 miles per hour. They should totally be 45. Like, I'm okay with 45. 35 is just a snail's pace. It's ridiculous, and that's why I got a ticket. So if you stick around towards the end of the video, I'll reveal how much it cost for me doing 47 and a 35, and we'll touch on food, gas, housing, insurance, taxes, all of the things. We're gonna dive into it. I hope this video brings you value. Enjoy. Let's dive in. So let's spend a few minutes talking about home prices. The average home price in the United States right now is right around $380K. And that's actually down a significant amount because it got above 400. The average price for a home in Texas is right around $340K. Well, average price for a home in the Great Killeen, Texas is $230,000. Now for that, you can usually get 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, right in between 14 to 1600 square feet. Now, we should walk into this one because this one's priced at $229, just to give you an idea of what these look like on the inside. But for a house around this price, then you're looking at about a $2,000 a month mortgage. Now that's assuming you got like a 6% interest rate. Those do fluctuate up or down just depending on your situation, but we'll use 6% just so we have a nice clean number. Put you around $2,000 a month. Let's see what one of those looks like on the inside. So this is a nice little starter home, and it was built around 2012. Now this one is under 1,500 square feet, and if you want more than 1,500 square feet, well then for this price, you start to not get the stone counters that this one has or the nice stained cabinets. It'll be a lot older and probably need a little bit of work. But like this one comes with tile floors, and it is just really a cute kind of starter house. Now the average rent in Killeen, Texas is fluctuating between $1,500 and $1,600, just depending on where you are. Now a house this size and in this condition would probably rent for right around $1,500. So you could pay $1,500 for rent or $2,000 for a mortgage, get pretty much the same house, but what you don't get is equity over the time that you're in the place. Now, whether you rent or buy, right now is one of the few times in history where it is actually cheaper to rent than it is to buy. So just keep that in mind. I do think that the property values in Killeen, Texas are gonna skyrocket over the coming 5 to 10 years. So keep that in mind whenever you're coming into the area and trying to make the decision on whether you should rent or buy. On the outset, it is a little bit more expensive to buy a home, and you have to maintain it, and any of the things that break inside it, like all of that is gonna be on you. But you get the benefit of building equity over years and the benefit of your property value going up over time, because if Killeen's average home price is $230K, but the average price of a house in the US is $380, then what do you think is gonna happen to the average price of houses in Killeen? That's right. So while we're on the subject of housing, let's talk about property taxes. Now that $2,000 a month that we mentioned for a mortgage on a house is going to include your property taxes and insurance. The property tax rate in Killeen right now is about 1.98, almost 2%. Now that's actually down from where it was several years ago because it had got as high as 2.6%. Now overall, that's actually pretty high in the grand scheme of things, and we're hoping to see more tax relief bills come as property values keep going up. And that's one of the things to take into consideration. If you're a homeowner and your property value goes up, well, that means your tax assessed value goes up, and that means your monthly payment goes up. So while you get the benefits of building that equity, you do end up having to pay a little bit more in taxes. That's just something that you really need to be aware of. Now, when it comes to property insurance, those costs can fluctuate greatly. I talked to a few clients of mine, and the average payment that they're seeing is right about $140 to $160 a month for a house about this same size, 1,500 square feet, 3 beds, 2 baths, nothing seriously wrong with it, no swimming pool or anything like that. So all in, that's what gets you your $2,000 a month payment on your property. Let's talk about something else. So I had to stop for a quick lunch, and Killeen, Texas is one of the few places in the world where you can trust the gas station tacos. And that's what I did. I decided to get some gas station tacos, and the cost of these was right around $3.25 a piece. They are the kind of street style tacos with corn. This is barbacoa, and it is absolutely delicious, worth every dollar. And yeah, for this whole $3, and I also got a agua fresca, so that whole lunch cost me right around $14. I would say that's a good average price for a to-go lunch. All depends on where you're eating, but $3.25 for a taco seems a little pricey. If it's any cheaper than that, then I would question the quality of the taco. Let's talk about the cost of utilities. So let's spend a few minutes talking about the utilities situation here. Now, water, that's pretty normal, right? And typically, water bill around here is going to be anywhere between 75 to 150, just depending on if you have sprinklers or anything that might take up a lot of water, sprinklers, swimming pool, things of that nature. But yeah, right around 75 to 150, depending on the size of your family. But electricity is where things get kind of weird. So I'm from Alabama. There was only one utility provider, one power provider. You can only shop with this one company. Well, Texas has this like really weird deregulation thing going on, and you can shop with multiple electricity providers. Now, they all kind of get their power from the same place, but you just pay for the service provider. And if you know anybody who's lived here, then they will tell you during extreme weather events like snow or like crazy heat, some people see really wild fluctuations in their electricity bill. Now, I actually have a concierge service that helps set up utilities like electricity, internet, and security for my clients, and the service provider we use has a fixed rate and there will be no wild fluctuations. So one of the main things I can tell you when shopping for your electricity is going to be lock into somebody that has a fixed rate. I know you can also get the option for like free nights and weekends, like those old school phone plans. That may or may not be the best option for you. It just depends on the size of your family. But long story short, our electricity cost here is actually higher than the national average. So the national average for utilities is about 192, 193. The average utility bill in the Killeen area, and I'm looking down here at my notes, the average utility bill in Killeen is right around $214. And I actually polled a couple of my clients, hit them up and say, hey, what are you spending on power every month? And they had the same amount. It varied from 200 and got up as high as 250. So all that's going to depend on the size of your house, the age of your AC, and the weather conditions outside and how many family members you got in there. So let's get into internet. The average cost of an internet bill is between $50 and $100. It really just depends on the speed. Now, the other kind of weird thing here is there aren't many internet service providers. The big two are going to be AT&T and Spectrum. Now, the other kind of strange thing that happens is they only cover certain areas. Most likely, in most areas in Killeen, Spectrum is gonna cover you. In some areas, AT&T is gonna cover you, but in other areas, they just don't offer service there. I have no idea why. So that limits competition, which limits the actual competitive pricing, but internet here is pretty much the same as it is anywhere else, between $50 and $100 a month, all depending on the speed of your internet. So let's get into food cost. And it seems like the standard everybody likes to use is a loaf of bread and a gallon of milk. So for us to do that, we are at the king of all stores ever created, HEB. And the national average for a gallon of milk, according to Google, is $4.33 a gallon. And the national average for a loaf of bread, which there are a billion types of bread, of course, but Google has us at about $2.50. So let's take a little trip inside the grocery store and see what it costs in Killeen. All right, so I finally found it way in the back. Whole milk, $2.98 for this brand, $3.28 for the HEB brand, which I would definitely prefer over that other one, and about $3.28 for the other ones. So looks like we're a little bit above when it comes to that. And if you're like me and you only drink the bougie oat milk, well, let's see what that costs. Oatly here, right about $5.28. Greatest oat milk of all time. Let's go to the bread. So there is a lot of different kinds of bread here, from $1 to $3.64, $2.18, $2.48, $3.84. So kind of goes all over the place. So the national average was $2.50. I'd say we're right on par with that. You can get it as cheap as $1 or a little bit more expensive depending on what you like. I just had the idea while we're in here, let's do a pound of ground beef. So it looks like right around $3.97, $4.19, up to $5. So the great King Google says that the average family of three spends around $900 a month on groceries. I asked a couple of my clients what they spend a month on groceries, and it all came to around the same thing, right between $900 and $1,000 a month. But I think that's one of those things that it all depends on your lifestyle. What type of groceries do you buy? And of course, how many people are in your house? I have a family of three, and we spend a little bit over $1,000 a month on groceries, and we love to stay at home and eat. So that's our thing. Hopefully you can compare it to what you spend wherever you're at, and it's not too high. Now, another one is childcare, and I'll say this. The cost of childcare here is right on par with everywhere else in Texas. You're gonna pay between $300 to $400 weekly, just depending on how much childcare you need, and that's about $1,200 a month. Now, I searched a couple different places, and I saw them say that childcare on average in Killeen, Texas is about $630 a month. I think that's wrong. I think it's a lot closer to $1,200, especially if you're going to a quality childcare facility. So I totally get it. That's why some people are stay-at-home parents, because the cost of childcare is astronomical. They are amazing people for taking care of children the way they do, but it can get really expensive. Killeen is pretty much on par with the rest of the country there. So finally got the ticket paid, and the grand total is $347.19. And that also comes with like almost a 4% service charge if you're using a card. So if you get a ticket in Killeen, bring cash. Man, what was even more expensive was the 2 hours I spent sitting there waiting on them to call my name. But lesson learned, no more speeding. Let's move on to the next one. So the national average price of gas right now, according to AAA gas prices, is going to be $3.14. And then in the state of Texas, the average gas price is $2.84. Well, I'm at a Valero about to fill up. So let's see what the gas prices are at the pump today. It's not half bad. If you're coming our way soon and you got more questions, need a little bit more help, my contact is in the description. I would love to hear your story. And if this video brought you value, you're really gonna like this video. Check it out. Thanks for spending a little bit of time here with me. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.